Steve Jobs is one of the most creative minds of our generation. Many creators look to him, and mostly because he founded Apple, one of the largest tech companies in the world, and he created some of the most revolutionary products that we've ever seen. Jobs was a firm believer in the power of creativity and its ability to change the world. He has always been an inspiration to me, and I've learned so much from him. One of the things that Steve Jobs taught me was the ability to create for yourself. And we're going to be exploring this topic in this video. At first glance, it's thinking, well, I don't create for myself, I create for others. I create for different people. I create with the audience in mind. And all that is true, but we're going to really delve into this principle of why creating for yourself actually helps you to create for others. Certainly everything he touched, everything he got involved with, mesmerized and inspired us, inspired creatives to this day. As a creative, you probably have an iPhone, or you edit on a Mac, design on an iPad, or perhaps you have your iWatch, where you basically just track your stats, get notification, and a computer on your wrist. See, he believed that if you're not constantly creating, you're not living up to your potential as a creative. So I want to explore in this video how you can create for yourself and what we can do to get more creative, especially if you're in a rut and you don't know what to create next. This is the video for you. The one thing that you can do that will change all of your creative projects in the future is to learn to create for yourself. Creativity is just connecting things. This is such a simple but profound statement. Jobs was referring to the fact that creativity is often about making connections between seemingly unrelated things. When you can see the connections between two things, you can create something new and unique. And this is one of the things that I love about being creative, is to be able to make the connections in the world that you wouldn't seemingly put together. But yet, that's what makes our creativity so infinite, is that you can take a flower and a video, or you can take the lessons that we learned from a waterfall into our art, or when it comes to music, we know we can do this. And definitely when it comes to marketing, when we are putting out a branding message, we are connecting, because when you connect two different things in the world, you're also connecting yourself and the audience. And so two people with completely different backgrounds, yet you're finding a way to connect them. And that's what Steve Jobs always did when it came to products. He created the personal computer. He took the computer, behemoth of a computer that they had at the time, and he connected them with people who never even thought about a computer, never even thought it was possible. Yet in his vision, in his dream, in his mind, in his creativity, he found a way to match the two. He then did that with technology. He took music and he embraced it with the technological advances that were coming our way, and he was able to create the iPod. And then it just continues to go down the spectrum from watches, always looking at fitness and watches. You would never think. A watch was always used to tell time or to a stopwatch. But now you can actually use it and connect it together. So it's always looking for those connections. And that's something that I strive to do as a creative, and something that you should too. Because if you just take seemingly different objects and you put them together, you can build a message, you can create different types of content and different pieces of art or different music. And it just works really, really well. I talk about this in my book, Ignite Your Impact, where I say you do this with SEO, you do this with hashtag strategy, where you take a pillar piece and then you find these little subcategories underneath and even more subcategories. And you can do this when creating content. People do this with music. There's an X amount of keys in the musical scale, yet the combination of all these different ones provide a immense amount of different possibilities when it comes to music and different styles of music. So really looking at ways to connect the things, that is something that will help you when you're in a rut and you're not sure what to do next. When I was younger, I used to think that only special people or those with resources or money and people are the ones that could actually change the world. I thought you had to be born with a special gifts or talent to make a difference. But Jobs really showed us that anybody can make a difference if you're willing to put in the work and you have the vision. He didn't have some gift, he was creative. And many people are creative. Everybody has the ability to be creative. But what makes a difference is when you actually act on those creative ideas. And that's when you can start the path towards fulfilling whatever your vision is for your brand or for what you want to do with your creative endeavors, whether music or art or whatever it may be, content creation. So really, only those that care enough are the ones that actually can make the most impact. The one way that I strive to apply this principle is through constant experimentation, aligning it with what I want to do, what I'm out to accomplish, and then striving to take that original principle of connecting different things, coming up with new ideas, and really just putting it out there and see if it makes an impact, see if it's affecting people. And then using that, and which we're going to talk about in the next part of this. But that's the first step, is connecting the different things and then being crazy enough to think that you can make a difference. Because most people will back down, most people won't take the risk. But if you're crazy enough and you work tirelessly to fulfill this, over time, it will happen. Being a yardstick of quality is always a reminder that we want to strive for excellence, not perfection. Now, we may pursue perfection, because if your aim is up here and you're pursuing it, you're going to get pretty close. You're never going to reach it, but it's going to enhance your overall quality of anything that you create. But striving for that yardstick of quality will allow you to really put a gauge on what you're putting out there. And many today are just finding different things. They're finding the next big thing out there. They're finding that connection and because it's doing really well, and they're just pumping it out. And those, true, you can just consistently put out stuff over time, and it'll hit. But really, that yardstick of quality, when you put something out in the world, really shows how much you actually care about what you're doing. If you're just doing it to get it out there and there's really no creative thing going on with it. Now, there are many people that sell a lot of different things, and print on demand is very, 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 very popular right now, but it requires creativity. You gotta constantly come up with a new product. And so, but you still have that quality of excellence, that yardstick that it runs again. Because the more stuff that you do, the more stuff that you experiment, the better you are at gauging what is working. And then you take the 100 things you put out there, you take the 10 that was really well, and that becomes your yardstick. So now you're pushing everything against that yardstick of quality to make sure that it matches. so that you can maximize your impact. Now, that's going to change, but the standard of the mission will never change. And that's where you never want to dilute your message or what you're trying to do creatively. So having that yardstick, finding those connections, and then being crazy enough to go at it, and then just having that yardstick of quality will really help you in the pieces that you have. And it'll also push you to really make sure that the next idea that you're working on is something that's going to benefit and something that's going to really meet that standard of excellence. Finally, creating for yourself. Now, at first glance, you may think, well, that's kind of selfish. I don't create for me, I create for my audience. I create for those that consume my content or review anything creative that I do. And that's true, you do. But you have to create for yourself. After all, why would you ever sell something or expect anybody to buy something that you make if you wouldn't buy it yourself? And that's one thing that Steve Jobs always did very well. He made sure that he created for him, for what he would want to do. And then down the line, talking about connecting in different things, down the line, he was able to make that connection between him and what he liked and what this person liked. And he made that connection. And now you are creating for others. You're creating for others because you're creating with your mind and your creativity, and you're creating stuff that you want, and then you're going out and finding those people that also like what you want. And that's how you really get an understanding of the market. You understand the market by being the type of person that you would create for. You become that market. You transcend that gap. You bridge that gap between the person that you're talking to in the camera and who you're creating for. So for instance, for me, I create for me because I need to do this in order to keep my creative juices flowing, to be able to come up with new ideas, to keep myself sharp, to constantly experiment on things. Yet I'm creating for you because I want you to learn from what I've learned and try to see things in different perspectives and utilize what I've done so that I can help you with your creative endeavors. So although I'm creating the things that I want to do, which you should want me to do because then I have passion behind what I do. And I put a lot of time and effort so that you know when you're watching a video, it's not just about turning the camera on. And when you first start, that's very important. But you know, for me, when I'm creating, I'm talking for me. I'm talking to you about it because this is something that I had to work on, or this is something that helps me. So really creating for yourself is a really key to success, because there you find your passion. And then you have that yardstick of quality where you gauge it. Is it something that's interesting to me? Because you could be interested in it, but are you committed? And you'll know because it sticks with you. When you know you have that idea, it sticks with you. And then you start to see that idea in all areas of life. Like I said, that connecting. And then you become crazy enough to want to change somebody's day. You don't have to change the world, but you can change their day. You can get somebody else with your content to another level, to another day, another month, if that's your goal. And I strive to apply this every day. I try to see what do I want to make? Because if I have the right audience, then what I'm going to make is something that they want me to make. And so if you feel you're stuck in a rut, as we've talked about, just look at what Steve Jobs has done. Look how he has been creative. Look at the things that he's created and just try to figure out, to really hone in on the world and the different connectivity between the different things in the news or in a piece of content that you saw. Let's say you're watching a fishing video and he makes a good kind of connection. Now, well, how does that apply to content creation? How can you do that in your own content? So you're just you're constantly keeping yourself creative, but make sure that you have a passion for it, and make sure that you're crazy enough that you're gonna work tirelessly at it so that you can change the person that you're talking to. So I hope this helped, and you'll be seeing more of this. And check out my other videos. At the time of this filming, there will be a lot more videos out there, so check them out. I'll do a lot of different case studies, as well as check out my book, Ignite Your Impact. You can go to www.joshuabrecht.com, and it really helps you to get started on your path and figure out what you want to do. So try that out, and I'll see you next time.